Hello and welcome back to Finnish Legacy Nationals 2024. I am here with Mikael and we have a great upcoming matchup in
Oh
round
yes.
6.
Yeah, we have Janne Nousiainen playing a hell of a deck, which we will discuss in a moment. Janne is at the moment 401, and when I just asked him that how he has been doing that, he told me that he haven't played Magic for 5 years. So this is kind of a comeback
Yeah,
thing for him.
well, it's better to win when you make a comeback.
Indeed. And against Janne we will have Lauri Törnström, who is now 401. And
Yes.
Lauri we saw early on the stream, he is playing blue-black tempo.
Yes. And yeah,
But about Janne's deck list, may we have a quick look on it?
yes, so it's a blue-white Stiflenought deck with some higher top end in new drifters and stuff like that, and red sideboard cards in Pyroblast and red Elemental Blasts.
Yep. So as many other decks, this one has also took Tamio Inquisitive Student as its own, which does well as an early play. Then there is a Doorkeeper rule, which is basically an effect to get Phyrexian Dreadnought easily onto the battlefield.
Yes, and well, it is probably gonna be a close matchup that might end quickly. And here we have a start with Tamio for the blue-black side.
Yep. And as we can see, there is already Tamio on the Lauri's side, and Janne still trying to build up his defenses, if we say so.
Yes, and looks like Tamio might be flipping here.
Already.
Probably. Well, certainly will. There we have it. Quite a fast clock. The ultimate being relevant in 3 turns effectively. Or it is. If you like drawing cards, Tamio's ultimate does do that for you.
Yep, and blue-black tempo is a deck for you to play. Alright, thoughts from Lauri. Let's see if Janne has something to say about it. Brainstorming response, probably hiding stuff from Thoughtseize.
Yeah, looks like Lauri might be considering forcing this. Or maybe
Or even forcing days.
But looks like the brainstorming resolve.
Yep. Janne taking his time to make sure that he don't give too much of any relevant information for Lauri, and also hiding the most relevant cards out of his hand.
Yes, obviously. The cost being that you can't fetch your survey land this turn.
Mhm.
So the hand is no drifters.
Swords to
Swords.
Plowshares.
Looks like that one is Tamio, Force of Will and Ponder.
Yep.
And a fetch land.
So pretty decent hand for Janne as well.
Yes. This is interesting with the swords. Probably drew it from the brainstorm. I think otherwise you would have used the stop on the Tamio earlier.
Yep.
But with that hand it's gonna be difficult to answer the Tamio in 2 turns before it gets to its ultimate.
Yeah, you would need to make up some pressure for yourself first, and then start to deal with things in combat.
Yeah, and Lauri taking his time with the Thoughtseize. It's none of the cards are really relevant, so it is a difficult choice. You could even opt in for the Ponder, but
Or leaving Janne with a vulnerable hand with the card drawing
yeah,
engines, and kind of forcing him to force with Tamio.
yeah, because like if there's no creature that can hit Tamio in the next turn, then it's impossible to react to the ultimate in time.
Yeah, I would
Pretty
only
much.
imagine that Janne hit something on top of the deck to deal with Tamio, but we'll see.
Not sure how many cards there is to answer the flipped version of Tamio though. Looks like it's...
Is Janne playing the prismatic ending?
We'll see. Let's look at the deck list. I don't think he has copies in his main deck, but yeah, no, nothing really to answer the Tamio itself. Obviously, if you get your Dreadnought in play, that's gonna hit hard and
Yeah,
do the job, but
things really not looking that great, because yeah, as we were speaking, there are no clean answers to Tamio.
it looks like Lauri afraid of maybe the ending and just going for the safe line with
Yeah, willing to
Thoughtseize.
force Janne with the Thoughtseize and slowly picking away his resources. Dress down has been drawn, or hidden, would I say?
Yeah, Dresden and the Dreadnought. I imagine you have to probably take the dress down really, because if you don't take the dress down, then it's just gonna cast it end step and then follow up with the Null Drifter.
Yeah, and then Lauri would need to do some reacting stuff.
Yeah,
into it.
maybe with Days in hand it's fine to leave the dress down, just Daze it, because it shouldn't be coming down in the end step.
Yeah,
So certainly a difficult choice, even taking the Null Drifter, not impossible.
and so he does.
A Ponder follow-up.
Here we have a look for a Null Drifter, another powerful Eldrazi from the newest Modern Horizons set.
Yeah, interesting to for the obviously a choice between doing the Ponder first and the Thoughtseize. Looks like Lauri wanted to know what the hidden cards were before making his choices with the Ponder.
Yeah, and I can only believe that Janne will now play perhaps Dress Down in the end step just to cycle it and perhaps to find some.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Lauri would anyway have to react to it to deny that Dreadnought from entering, but we can imagine he has prepared something for it.
Two untapped lands hitting the battlefield. Probably gonna see the Dress Down coming up.
And there we go.
And with the Days in hand, it makes perfect sense why the Thoughtseize took the Null Drifter.
Yep. So that basically leaves Janne just with the Dreadnought in hand, and that's not very effective there, alone at least.
Yeah. And the Tamio is gonna generate even more value. Just being a really hard permanent to remove at this point. The blue Ragavan, so to speak.
There goes to 1 white mana from Janne.
Mana floated. Not sure if we moved between steps. I would assume so. And another Thoughtseize. This is gonna strip the last bits of Janne's hand.
Not giving him to keep much. Another force seems to be drawn. I would imagine if Lauri wants to put some kind of pressure of himself, he will probably be taking swords, right? Because playing a threat towards force is also okay, because you are once again going 2 for 1. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously taking the Dreadnought is one option as well, but I would imagine at this point Lauri has at least one removal spell already
Yeah.
drawn.
Because of course there is always a risk if you leave Dreadnought in hand and Janne just happens to draw, for example, another Dress down, he will easily get that Dreadnought down. But yeah, if Lauri has already drawn an answer to it, it's no-brainer to just let it be there. And there goes force to the Psychic Frog. So now the coast is clear to put another threat on the battlefield if found.
Looks like it's just gonna be a pass and, well, then land drawn and pass back.
Yep.
Are we gonna see the Tamiyo ultimate soon?
So looking back when Lauri minused Tamiyo to get back the Thoughtseize, it seems to be a pretty clever play, just taking it slow, taking away resources from an opponent. You don't need to rush for the emblem, even though it would be the ultimate.
Yes, obviously the ultimate winning game on the spot is very tempting line as well.
And as we discussed, Janne does not have a clean answer to Tamiyo, but of course Lauri will not know that. He will be or may be afraid that prismatic ending. Right, having one more look to the graveyard, and we'll see if Janne has seen enough on that point, or will he still try to sneak in.
Looks like it's just gonna be another pass back from Janne.
Yeah, and a great take from outside of us too. There really is an answer to Tamiyo's ultimate. For example, Stifle is pretty nice if you happen to have one, but does not seem so.
Gonna be an ultimate, and Janne is not gonna check out what Lauri is gonna do with half his deck in hand.
Yeah, so that's game 1 in the bag, and didn't look too much of a trouble for Lauri.
Yeah, the blue-black tempo deck, I imagine, is somewhat of a nightmare matchup for the Stiflenought, with just so many answers to the, like, in discard spells and then removal spells, even if you get your Dreadnought in play.
And when knowing that different kind of versions of blue-black are the most common deck today, it seems to be a risky choice to bring in Stiflenought today, but Janne has done pretty well so far, so
yes,
so far so good.
Lauri actually also has a history with the Stiflenought deck, so it might be even more difficult for Janne in that sense, as Lauri is quite familiar with the deck.
Tricks and stuff. Yeah, here we see some of the tricks Janne has in his sleeve. So Phyrexian Dreadnought is of course the bread and butter of this deck, but there are different kind of ways to get it onto the battlefield without the downside of the card.
Yes, so obviously Stifle and the new Consign to Oblivion, which is a great answer to the Eldrazi deck and different kind of Stompy decks. It has brought the Dreadnought to life, kind of, and Dresden also being great answer, or with the Dreadnought also answering to some of problematic.
Yeah, and Dresdown is especially since it has some kind of other uses in different kind of matchups as well.
So looks like
we're having a look to Lauri's deck and sideboard next.
With the blue-black tempo deck, I imagine they're gonna bring in at least Shoot the Sheriff for the Dreadnought, as that one is not in fact an outlaw, and the two Barrogoyfs being kind of a tough permanent. Well, you get swords, but it does trade with the Dreadnought and can block it.
Yeah,
easily.
And of course main deck also have already Fatal Position stuff, so it's great.
And Janne probably bringing in some more removals if he has it. Let's see what Janne has in the sideboard. But yeah.
Sorry for the inconvenience. We have a slight technical problem,
but yeah, Janne probably wants some additional removals. Obviously, seeing that it is a tempo matchup, you don't always know from the first game which one you actually meet, and sometimes you just lose to a frog, and then you have to decide whether to bring in the graveyard head, but seems like it's obvious here, and I think we have the second game coming up here.
Yep.
Both players keeping a 7, I think.
So Janne is going next since he is 1-0 down in this game.
The first turn being a fetch for Tundra and pass. This is interesting. Oh, it was not a pass, it was Tamiya and the
Tamiya of his own.
And that does make a lot more sense than just fetching a Tundra and passing the turn. It looks like Lauri is thinking whether to force it, but then I'm not sure he had a force in his hand.
Forcing turn 1 play usually doesn't feel that great if it's not something game winning already. Fatal push to cleanly deal with Tamiya here.
It's gonna be a daze here.
And let's see if we'll have a day's battle next. Nope. Tamiya will stick for now.
And again, a flip Tamiya won't be pretty bad news for Lauri, as there is not many.
Alright, Janne has some mana denial plan of his own here, so
yeah,
putting Lauri on his back feet.
And coming up and getting the clue. It's funny that the Tamiya is kind of a attacking threat with the 0-3 body.
So the game has changed. But still a powerful effect, nothing to doubt.
Yeah, Ponder coming up for Lauri. what there is in hand. At least a brainstorm.
Perhaps a couple more ponders, if seen correctly.
Yeah. Not many black spells at least. Obviously looking for a new fatal push or some threat of its own, but it's gonna be a pass for now. Obviously not having extra land drops.
Mhm. So let's see if it's now Janne's turn to turn around that Tamio and get ticking. Nope. Just play land and pass.
Lauri. Looks like there is maybe some talk with a charge or something.
A whole lot of blue cards in hand, starting from an island on top.
And obviously in the tank here, Lauri, unless he's talking to a judge, which does seem to be the case. Lauri generally not being slow to play, but apparently just thinking for a lot before playing the island.
Mm. It was kind of a fast start in the beginning to first resolve Tamio and then fighting for the fatal push, but now the dust has settled and both players are slowly rebuilding their game.
Janne with the 2 force of wills in hand. There's a looking to draw some cards with the clues and maybe protect the Tamio. Looks like we are shooting the sheriff here.
Mhm.
We don't shoot any deputies. So this is...
Not to forget that Tamio really is a... Yep, there is a fight for it.
Yes, surprising decision not to crack a clue with the floating mana. Maybe want to keep the force and pay a possible days afterwards.
Yep. But so it seems that this Tamio is now fighting for its life desperately.
Yes, and obviously the Tamio can solve any case at this point with so many clues being there in the battlefield. Lauri really is in small trouble. Obviously things can turn quickly as Lauri could possibly play Frog or another threat, but
Yeah.
just blue cantrips in hand, it's...
And of course Tamio is not pressuring much at the moment. Even though it creates clues here and there, it's not very effective way to draw more cards since you need to crack them as well. And of course it's not hitting that hard, so the pressure really is not there yet.
Yes, but with the clues going up and the matchup being obviously grindy once the dust settles, then there's gonna be the clues are gonna be an actual card advantage at some point.
Yep.
And prismatic ending on the Tamio.
Yep, there they are.
From the sideboard.
Coming from the sideboard, I would think.
It's interesting that Janne seems to have 2 graveyards, with the prismatic ending being in the top side, and
I think the both players have the same case here.
yeah, it is.
Is he still fighting for the freaking Tamio?
Yeah, that is not something you see every day.
So Lauri is now force of willing brainstorm, if we see correctly.
Yes, obviously, Brainstorm won't be flipping the Tamiya, wasting the fatal push.
Yep.
Now
And there
it's
is
gonna be another Tamiya.
Yep. This game has really been a fight for the Tamios and nothing else. All right, another prismatic ending, another Tamio gone.
There's gonna be a land for Janne. Nope. It is.
All right,
Gonna be a
Barrogoyf coming down. And now both players pretty short on resources, even though Janne now has more cards and he have more clues. So if he can just answer that Barrogoyf, I think Lauri does not have that much going on for now. So Janne might be able to start turning the corner.
Yes, Janne obviously reading the Barrogoyf. If you haven't played in 5 years, it can be hard to believe what that card does.
Yep, and here comes the Barrogoyf once again.
It is size of a Tarmogoyf with quite a lot of text for the 1 extra mana, Death Touch, Lifelink, and obviously the card advantage. When it hits, you get to mill cards and return a creature from the graveyard.
Exactly, and
well,
another removal from Janne, so now it really starts to look not so great for Lauri.
Yes, but
Another
obviously
cantrip.
Janne doesn't have much to work with either, but
Yeah.
the 4 clues are still waiting to be cracked at some point.
Yeah, I mean he have the cards, but they are in the form of clues at the moment.
Yes. And we'll see what Lauri got from the...
That was a very quickly resolved brainstorm, so I will believe that he got rid of a couple of more lands and now probably resolving something like, is it Murktide here?
It's gonna be a Murktide, looks like it is. Yes, exiling 5 instants and sorceries.
Yep.
And coming down as a 8/8, which is a... or 7/7.
Oh no, but
it,
Janne was prepared for this.
Yes, and now with Lauri being empty-handed, the clues are really gonna start making work. Interesting.
All right, not the worst top deck.
Maybe should have cracked the clue to maybe hit the land drop there, but
yeah,
gonna play the Doorkeeper through, and looks like there is another Swords to Plowshares.
And now Phyrexian Dreadnought. Nope.
Let's see here. Nope, just a pass.
Yep. Well, things are looking decent for Janne, even though the clock is not the fastest, but that will do.
Yes, with the Wasteland, it does help that you get to play.
All right, Null Drifter coming in.
With Evoke, that is gonna be dazed, but you still get to draw 2 cards.
That's insane.
It's like cracking 2 clues. And now with the land drops coming up, the clues are gonna be transforming into cards, and
I must say that this is the Magic I used to like a lot.
yes.
Nothing game-ending nonsense in 1 or 2 cards, just grinding all around the world and until the end of our days. All right, another Barrogoyf found by Lauri.
Yes, and the Barrogoyf does resolve.
And so far we have seen 2 prismatic endings, at least 2 Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah,
Will there be more?
really running short, but well, that's gonna be a no drifter. And the no drifter is a problematic permanent for Lauri's deck as well, with the removals basically being fatal pushes. There is not many ways to get rid of it.
Checking that how big of a fella this Goif is now.
Yes. Would think it's a 4 or 5, but yeah, I don't think there's any artifacts or enchantments.
Yeah, I also think that it's the basic set of 4 cards. Creature,
Yes.
land, instant and sorcery.
So a double block is an option. Jump blocking is also an option.
Alright, that is a trade that Lauri was surely willing to take.
Yeah, obviously for Janne, they have a lot of cards. It makes sense to just trade resources and try to drown them with the card advantage eventually.
Yep.
And now the clues are gonna get cracked here, and it's gonna be a force of will here.
Oh my, this is great resource trading on both sides.
And
Good threats with better answers, and we have once again a clean table after all this fighting for both sides. And we have once again entered to the rebuilding
yes,
moments of this game. And as said, Janne still has plenty of those clues to work with, so he is, I would say, still ahead on this game.
yes, and I think it is starting to look quite grim for Lauri as the barrel goals are gone. There's not many big threats that he can draw. Obviously, Psychic Frog being one, but even that might not be enough at this point.
Yep, another Thrall starting to grind off those life points from Lauri.
And it
All
is
right,
gonna be
now
a
it seems to be a judge call, yeah.
Wonder what there is gonna be a question about, you never know. But with the 2 clues, it is gonna be a hard to mount a comeback from here.
Yeah.
Something probably starts from something like Tummy or Frog, and then trying to take over the game.
Or you're thinking about, Lauri's side, how he is coming back to this.
Obviously, Janne having the 2 clues to crack, few cards in hand, it's quite a controlling position for Janne.
Yep. And while we are waiting for Judge to resolve this issue, whatever it is on the table right now, we will remind you that we are playing 7 rounds of Swiss today, and even though it says it is round 5 on a screen, it really is round 6 right now, so just to correct
So
that.
basically this being a win and in for both players, very, very likely so. But yeah, it's been a great game for sure. So looks like there is a debate of life totals with the barrel coifs obviously having a varying size and having a life link. It can get confusing pretty quickly.
But as we counted, it should be. It was 4 and 5 at that point. But yeah, we may not know that what are the notes for players about the life total. So
Yeah, looks like we have it resolved and
once again, that's not the worst of the findings of Lauri.
yes. Opting to choose to
Land.
exile only lands,
Yeah, lands instead of spells.
which is
And he don't have any other cards, so it would make sense to play another Murktide later and
yeah, but I think he has only 2 or 3 in his list, so
yeah, and
it is,
one is already played and removed.
yeah, it's, I don't know, maybe he thinks the draw prevents the counters or something. I don't really understand why he's opting to play that way, but obviously Murktide I don't believe has a trigger that the draw prevents, so and the chat asking whether or betting on the True and Murktide interaction, we did have a confirmation about,
Yeah, and here we have
about the life
Murktide
total.
once again.
Yes. So obviously Murktide is not having a, does not have a trigger, the ability in the enters the battlefield, so the doorkeeper does not prevent counters from being gotten.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a survey land for Lauri and passing off the turn. The fetch land for Janne. Fetch his lands out of the deck before drawing some more cards with the clues.
So Murktide was removed from the battlefield once again with a blast.
Yes.
Yep. Had my attention on the different screen for a moment, so
And there's gonna be another draw and then the draw for turn.
and Thrall keeping on that holy work on chipping slowly those life points away from Lauri.
Yes, and there's at least the swords, but that wasn't enough for Janne.
No need for another swords to closer, at least for now.
Yeah,
Even though Lauri has been very good at finding those.
some
threats.
white card think I saw in the Janne's hand, so it might be a case of Janne already having one removal spell and not just wanting to find something more proactive. So it's gonna be Tommy and Tron attacking. Looks like.
Did he take? Yeah, here comes another clue.
Okay.
And going for
Brainstorm.
the transform it right away.
And the chat asking whether the Murktide does stop the counters. It does not, as it is a replacement effect. And Dreadnought hits the board and that's enough
Yeah,
for Lauri.
now it seems to be enough for Lauri. That
Wow.
was quite a game.
Yes.
One of the coolest we have seen today,
Yeah,
I would say.
definitely one of the longest ones as well.
Well, that was kinda we kinda knew that it will not be as fast as the other games we have seen today. So two relatively fair decks fighting each other.
Yeah, and not that many unanswerable haymakers generating much on the enters the battlefield clause, which threats usually tend to do these days.
Yep.
But both players opting for things like Frog and Tamiya and Barrelgoyf.
Yeah, and I would also think that both players have sided out, for example, some number of Force of Wills to just bring in more good answers to do 1-to-1.
Yeah, for sure. And well, Days being another interesting card on these types of decks.
Both decks are still relying on some kind of a mana denial in the form of classic wastelands, so I would imagine it would do something even in the longer games as well.
Yeah, but obviously in that game, at the end, it took quite a while, but in the end, both players did have the 4 lands in play. And
yeah.
looks like we might be on the next game and a mulligan from Lauri's side,
Yeah,
or maybe.
I would imagine that the time is also pushing both the players. They want to take the win from here, and at least, well, not necessarily both need the win, but at least Lauri wants at least a draw, and of course the win would put both players to X and 1, which is basically a handshake to the top 8 if you don't get to down paired. So
Yes, a mulligan does come from Janne's side. I believe it was actually a 7 for Lauri that he kept. Obviously mulliganing not something you really want to do. The Murktide was cast with just 5 lands exiled. So obviously it had the option to cast the Murktide, as chat wonders.
yeah, we don't have the information if it was Lauri also thinking that it would not get the counters, or was it just a choice to do for some other reason. So it seems that Janne has, it is a decent 6. There are lands, there are brainstorm, there are removal. There is also Force of Will, so at least not all of them have been sided out.
Yes, and it looks like it's gonna be a brainstorm taken away with the land heavy hand. Does make sense.
And we saw in game 1 how good those thoughts can be for Lauri, so I imagine he will go the same route here. And since he took the brainstorm, of course he will want to deny Janne from fixing his hand, and now also giving Lauri the perfect information. He can either just give something to Prismatic ending first away and then pursuing another threats on the board, but doesn't seem to have
coming down, but no wasteland used. That's could be a Bowmasters, and it is gonna be a Bowmasters. And both players playing very quickly. It's hard to keep up with the speed, obviously. Time being a factor, and especially Janne not wanting a draw here for sure.
Yep, so I hope the brainstorm was played in response to
Yes,
Bowmasters.
I believe it was. And is it gonna? It looks like it will resolve.
Alright, Force of Will off on Lauri's side.
Yes. Is there gonna be a land drop to play?
Yeah, playing Wasteland
Yeah,
and
there's
not wasting is a sign that he may not be, or he might be short on lands, but now there seems to be a polluted delta
yeah,
and
the
Barogov, so
Barogov.
Lauri definitely wants to just put pressure here and finish this as quickly as possible.
Obviously, the problem with the Stiflenought deck is that putting the Dreadnought or the No Drifter in play is quite expensive on the mana, and with some interaction from Lauri's side, it can be a risk that ends up being quite costly.
Yeah, and I imagine we would now see Prismatic ending to something. Is he going for 3 to Barogov towards Days, or is it taking Orcus Bowmasters away? Or has he found something else better to do?
Gonna be another red land. No, I won't think there's a red spell in hand. No.
And there is also the thing that Pyroblast is not that great on on this
Yes.
point.
So there's a Dreadnought and a Dress Down.
Yeah, so he has an option to just put a big fatty of his own onto the battlefield, or just start dealing with things.
Yes, and Dress Down does. It's a weird one, because the Dress Down doesn't really help in this spot. Like, you play the Dreadnought, but you still kind of have to block the Barogov.
Yeah, you can't block Barogov unless you let it die. The Dreadnought, I mean.
It's gonna be a pass, so maybe looking to do it end step. I don't know, because if you do it, you can't do it in the combat step to kind of have a time wonk, in the sense that you just, the Barogov won't do any damage to you, so it won't get a trigger and you take 2, but
Yeah, now we waste.
weird.
And this also like forces you to react.
So the players do have roughly 5 minutes.
Yeah, there are like 3 minutes left for the round time, and then there are 2 extra minutes for the players, so that sums up in total of 5 minutes for these players to finish this. So that's why Lauri is making haste.
Yes, and obviously the whole crew gonna connect here. Janne opting to do the Dreadnought or the Dress Down in the end step, but it is gonna get dazed, and it is gonna be another Bowmasters. And now
things are starting to look pretty bad for Janne.
yeah, with the removal spell in hand being a prismatic ending, it is so hard to catch up here. It's gonna be a prismatic ending for 3, hitting the Force of Will.
Yeah. Now it is just smooth sailing to the end.
Yes, I believe it's an attack for 9 at this point.
Yeah, Dress Down is also an enchantment on the graveyard, so yeah, there is indeed this handshake. So Lauri will take this match 2-1, advance to 5-1 in total, and Janne will continue 4-1. So Lauri will most likely be able to handshake himself in the top 8 in the next round, and Janne is still in a position to win and sneak into top 8 as well.
Yes. So it is gonna be a blue-black in the top 8.
We can confirm it now.
Yeah. My guess was earlier with Nange that there is gonna be 3 blue-black decks in the top 8, and Nange guessing 4 of them. So there is certainly a lot of blue-blacks in the top tables. And
yep. And after this round, we will have the standings at least to discuss. So we will probably be seeing at least some of the players locking into top 8 and perhaps also seeing that how many bluebacks there really might be and what other archetypes we are seeing in the top 8. But it is also round time over, so now we'll take a short break and tune in into the round number 7.
Yes, we'll see you soon.